This kind of dynamic often leads to constant criticism and belittling. You might find yourself on the receiving end of snide remarks, dismissive comments, or outright put-downs. It creates an environment where you're always questioning whether you're good enough, whether you'll ever meet their impossibly high standards. But the truth is, no one deserves to be treated this way. If she expresses this kind of superiority, it's a strong sign that the relationship is not built on a solid, respectful foundation. It's essential to remember that relationships should be based on equality. Both partners should appreciate each other's unique qualities and contributions. If she can't see your worth and continually views herself as too good for you, then it may be time to reconsider whether this relationship is really worth continuing. Another hurtful statement you might hear is, "You should be more like my friends." This kind of comparison can be incredibly damaging to a relationship. When a partner starts comparing you to others, it suggests that they're finding you lacking. Comparisons in relationships are toxic because they undermine the unique qualities that each person brings to the table. Being told that you should be more like someone else implies that who you are isn't good enough. It creates an environment where you feel inadequate, like you're constantly being measured against someone else's standards. You start feeling pressured to change, to become someone you're not, just to fit into their ideal. This can lead to resentment and frustration because no one should be forced to change to meet someone else's vision of what a partner should be. Moreover, constantly being compared to someone else can take a serious toll on your self-esteem. Over time, it chips away at your confidence, making you feel like no matter what you do, you'll never measure up. But in a healthy relationship, you shouldn't have to compete with anyone else. Relationships thrive on mutual respect and acceptance, where both partners are valued for who they are. If your partner is making these kinds of comparisons, it may indicate deeper issues in the relationship. Perhaps she's dissatisfied or doesn't appreciate your unique qualities. Either way, it's a sign that something needs to change. You deserve to be in a relationship where you're appreciated for the person you are, not where you're constantly being compared to others. In the end, relationships are supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. Whether it's a lack of trust, lingering attachments to an ex, feelings of superiority, or toxic comparisons, these red flags all point to a fundamental lack of respect. And without respect, a relationship cannot thrive. It's okay to walk away from a relationship that no longer serves you. In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-respect. You deserve a partner who sees your worth, who trusts you, and who values the unique connection that you share. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Stay true to yourself, and remember that the right relationship will never make you feel small or inadequate. It will be one where you're cherished, respected, and loved for exactly who you are. When someone says, "I can do better than you," it cuts deeper than any casual insult. It's not just a hurtful comment, it's a direct attack on your worth. A statement that dismisses the value you bring to the relationship. If your partner tells you this, it's not just a moment of harshness. It's a reflection of how they perceive you. And that perception isn't flattering. They're essentially saying they believe they are settling by being with you, and that they deserve someone better. This can leave you feeling like you're constantly being measured against an invisible standard, never quite good enough in their eyes. Hearing this kind of remark in a relationship can be devastating. It immediately creates a power imbalance, one where you are made to feel lesser, as if your contributions, qualities, and presence in the relationship aren't truly valued. Instead of being partners, equals in love and companionship, you're placed in a position where you are made to feel inferior. This kind of dynamic is toxic. No matter how hard you try to meet their expectations, it often feels like you're running on a treadmill, never moving forward. The truth is, a healthy relationship doesn't work like this. It's built on mutual respect, admiration, and a deep appreciation for each other's unique qualities. You should never feel like you're being compared to some better version of a partner that exists only in their mind. When someone truly loves and values you, they don't keep a mental checklist of all the things you're lacking. Instead, they celebrate who you are, flaws and all. You deserve to be with someone who is proud to be with you, who sees your worth clearly and never makes you feel small. A partner who constantly suggests they could do better isn't giving you the respect and love you deserve. They're focusing on some imagined version of what they think they should have, instead of appreciating the real, imperfect, but wonderful person standing in front of them. When someone believes they can do better, it's also a sign that they might not truly understand what makes a relationship valuable in the first place. True partnership isn't about finding someone who checks every box or meets some arbitrary standard. It's about connecting with someone on a deeper level, building a life together based on love, trust, and shared goals. If your partner is more focused on what's missing or how they could be with someone better, they're missing the point of being in a relationship entirely. This kind of mentality can also leave you feeling constantly on edge, worried that they're always on the lookout for someone else who meets their standards. No one should live in fear that their partner is constantly sizing them up against other potential partners. It creates an environment of insecurity and self-doubt, where you're always wondering if you're good enough. But here's the truth: you are good enough. And you deserve someone who recognizes that. A relationship should be a safe space where both individuals feel valued, cherished, and accepted for who they are. It's about lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. When someone says, "I can do better than you," they're not lifting you up, they're undermining your sense of self-worth. And no one has the right to do that. In a healthy relationship, your partner should admire and respect you, just as you should admire and respect them. There should be a sense of equality, a shared appreciation for each other's strengths, and a willingness to support each other through any weaknesses. Relationships thrive when both people feel like they're on the same team, working together toward a common goal. But when one person believes they're too good for the other, that team dynamic breaks down. Instead of supporting each other, one person starts looking down on the other, which only breeds resentment and frustration. If you've been on the receiving end of a comment like this, take a step back and consider what that says about the relationship. Does your partner truly appreciate you for who you are? Do they see your worth, or are they too focused on what you're not? If the answer is the latter, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. Walking away from a relationship where you're not valued is not an easy decision, but it's often a necessary one. Staying in a situation where your partner makes you feel small, inadequate, or unworthy isn't just bad for your self-esteem, it's bad for your overall well-being. You deserve to be with someone who looks at you and sees all the wonderful things you bring to the table, not someone who constantly thinks they could find someone better. At the end of the day, love isn't about finding the best partner according to some arbitrary set of standards. It's about finding someone who loves you for who you are, someone who supports you, believes in you, and is proud to be with you. If your partner can't offer you that, then they aren't the right partner for you. Remember, relationships are supposed to be partnerships built on love, trust, and mutual respect. If you're constantly feeling belittled or compared to some idealized version of a partner, it's time to question whether this relationship is truly serving you. Love should never make you feel like you're not good enough. It should make you feel cherished, valued, and respected. If your partner can't see your value, then it's time to move on and find someone who does. There's no shame in recognizing when a relationship isn't working and taking steps to protect your own mental and emotional well-being. In fact, it's one of the bravest things you can do. Walking away from someone who doesn't appreciate you is a powerful act of self-love. It's a decision to prioritize your own happiness and well-being over the hurtful words or actions of someone who doesn't see your worth. You deserve a partner who is proud to be with you, someone who values everything you bring to the relationship and who never makes you feel like you're less than. So, if you've ever heard the words, "I can do better than you," know this: you deserve better. You deserve someone who looks at you and thinks, "I'm so lucky to be with you," because that's what real love looks like: mutual respect, admiration, and a deep appreciation for each other's unique qualities. Never settle for less than that. Thank you for joining me today as we explored some of the most important warning signs to watch for in relationships. If this resonated with you, don't hesitate to share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Relationships should uplift and inspire us to be better, not tear us down. Stay strong, stay positive, and always remember that you deserve nothing less than a relationship built on love, respect, and mutual appreciation. Until next time, keep working on becoming the best version of yourself and never settle for anything less than you deserve. A healthy relationship is one where both people feel accepted, even with their imperfections. If your partner can't love you as you are, then they might not be the right person for you. You deserve someone who encourages your growth while also embracing who you are today. They should support you in becoming the best version of yourself, but not by tearing you down or making you feel inadequate. If your partner can't do that, it may be better for your mental and emotional well-being to move on and find someone who values you for yourself without making unreasonable demands for you to change. Another painful red flag is when your partner says, You don't make enough money. This kind of statement is not only hurtful, but it also reveals a lot about your partner's values. When someone tells you that you don't make enough money, they're essentially saying that your financial status is more important to them than qualities like love, respect, and compatibility. This implies that their affection and commitment to the relationship are conditional. And that can be devastating. Money is, of course, an important aspect of life, but in a loving relationship, financial status should never be the foundation of love or respect. When a partner reduces your worth to your income level, it creates an environment where you feel like you're not enough. You start to question whether your partner is with you for who you are or for what you can provide. It can make you feel like no matter how much love, effort, or support you offer, it's never going to be enough if you don't hit a certain financial benchmark. This kind of pressure can lead to stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. If you're constantly striving to meet someone else's financial expectations, it detracts from the emotional and personal connection that a relationship should be built on. Love should never be contingent on how much money someone makes. If your partner judges you solely based on your financial status, it's a clear sign that they may not appreciate the true essence of who you are. A relationship built on conditional love is unlikely to bring you lasting happiness. This brings us to another significant issue in relationships: trust. Trust is the foundation of any healthy partnership. If your partner tells you, "I don't trust you," it can be a heavy blow. Trust is earned over time through consistency, communication, and vulnerability. When that trust is broken, whether by actions or words, it creates a chasm that's difficult to repair. If your partner frequently expresses distrust without cause, it can create a toxic atmosphere of suspicion and doubt. Constantly feeling like you're under scrutiny or having to prove yourself can be exhausting. It's essential to reflect on whether this distrust is rooted in a misunderstanding or if it's something deeper that can't be fixed. Healthy relationships are built on mutual trust, where both partners feel secure in the knowledge that they are loved and respected. If that trust isn't there, it's almost impossible to build a strong connection. You shouldn't have to constantly defend yourself or feel like your partner doesn't believe in your commitment to the relationship. If distrust becomes a pattern, it may be time to step back and evaluate whether this relationship is truly serving your well-being. When you're constantly faced with red flags like these, whether it's being told you need to change, that you don't make enough money, or that you're not trusted, it's essential to listen to those signals. They're telling you that something fundamental in the relationship isn't working. Leaving a relationship that no longer serves you isn't a sign of failure. It's an act of self-respect and self-care. You deserve to be with someone who loves and appreciates you for who you are, without making you feel inadequate or undervalued. You deserve a partner who's equally invested in building a future with you, not someone who places conditions on their love or consistently makes you feel like you're not enough. Remember, relationships are about mutual respect, trust, and appreciation. If these elements are missing, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to seek a connection where you feel valued for who you are, not for who someone else wants you to be, or for how much you can provide. You deserve a love that lifts you up, not one that holds you back. Stay true to yourself, and don't settle for less than you deserve. Trust is the bedrock of any healthy relationship, and without it, everything can quickly unravel. If your partner tells you, "I don't trust you," it's a clear sign that something is fundamentally wrong. Trust isn't just about whether someone is honest, it's about feeling secure in each other's intentions, reliability, and integrity. When that foundation is missing, doubt, suspicion, and insecurity take over. Living in a relationship where your partner constantly questions your trustworthiness can be exhausting. If she doesn't trust you, every action can be scrutinized. You may feel like you're always walking on eggshells, anticipating when the next suspicion or accusation will arise. Maybe she has her reasons, whether from past relationships where she was hurt, or maybe even past experiences with you. But no matter where the mistrust stems from, living under constant suspicion is draining. It leads to endless arguments, creates a suffocating atmosphere of surveillance, and strips away any sense of freedom. In this kind of relationship, it often feels like you're constantly in trouble for things you haven't even done. And the worst part is, without trust, every conversation and interaction becomes tinged with doubt. Instead of enjoying each other's company, the relationship turns into a cycle of accusations and defensive responses, where neither partner can ever fully relax. It's important to address trust issues early. Honest communication is key. Sit down and try to understand where her feelings are coming from. Is there something you've done that has caused her to lose trust? Is this coming from past experiences unrelated to you? Sometimes, even professional help, such as counseling, can be invaluable in addressing trust issues. But trust isn't something you can force or demand. It has to be built and maintained by both partners. If despite all efforts, trust cannot be rebuilt, then it might be time to reconsider the relationship. A relationship without trust is like a car without gas. No matter how nice or well built it is, it's not going to go anywhere. For a lasting relationship, both partners need to feel secure and trusted by one another. Without that sense of security, you'll constantly feel stuck in an emotionally draining loop. If the trust is gone, it might be best to part ways, giving you both the chance to heal and eventually find someone you can trust fully. Another glaring red flag is when your partner says, "I'm not over my ex." This can be a devastating blow because it indicates that her heart and emotions are still tied to someone from the past. When a person is emotionally attached to an ex, it means they're not fully present in the current relationship. She might not be ready to move on, and that can create a major barrier to the future you're trying to build together. When someone is still thinking about their ex, it's almost impossible for them to give their all in a new relationship. There will always be comparisons, unresolved feelings, and a sense of emotional unavailability. You might find yourself competing with a memory or an idealized version of her past relationship, which is an unfair battle. You're trying to build something real and meaningful, but you're fighting against something that no longer exists, or at least shouldn't exist in her life anymore. A healthy relationship requires both partners to be fully present and emotionally invested in each other. There's no room for lingering attachments to past loves. If she's not over her ex, it's important to have an open, honest conversation about her feelings. Is she really ready to move on? Can she truly commit to a relationship with you? If she's still holding on to her past, then it might be better for your emotional well-being to step away. You deserve a partner who is fully committed to you and to the future you're trying to build together, free from the shadows of past loves. One of the more blatant red flags you might encounter is when she says, "I'm too good for you." This statement is a clear sign of disrespect and a superiority complex. When someone believes they're too good for their partner, they're essentially saying that they think they deserve better. This can be in terms of looks, intelligence, social status, or some other metric. It's incredibly hurtful, and it can deeply erode your self-esteem and sense of self-worth. When a person expresses this kind of superiority, it indicates that they don't view you as an equal partner. In any healthy, loving relationship, both people should feel valued for who they are, with mutual respect being the foundation. Relationships are about building each other up, not tearing each other down. But when one partner starts acting like they're better than the other, it creates a power imbalance that's almost impossible to overcome. Are you feeling unappreciated in your relationship? Do you sometimes wonder if the things your partner says are subtle signs that it might be time to move on? If these thoughts have crossed your mind, you're in the right place. Relationships can be tricky. And when the words coming from someone you care about start making you feel confused or hurt, it's important to pay attention to those feelings. Today, we're going to talk about 10 clear signs that it might be time to prioritize your well-being and leave a relationship that isn't serving you anymore. These red flags reveal a lack of respect and appreciation, and it's essential to recognize them before they take a toll on your emotional and mental health. Have you ever found yourself questioning your worth because of something your partner said? Maybe it's a passing comment, but the way it sticks with you makes you feel small or unvalued. If this resonates with you, it's time to explore these warning signs together. We're here to help you not just spot them, but also understand their deeper meaning. Once you start to notice these behaviors, you can take charge of your own happiness, find someone who genuinely values you, and move towards a more fulfilling life. In this discussion, we'll delve into real-life examples of what these signs look like in relationships, and I'll be offering practical advice on how you can deal with these situations confidently and with self-respect. If you're struggling with these feelings, remember you're not alone, and there's a way to navigate through this with grace and dignity. In our next video, we'll even share some exclusive tips on how to build healthier relationships and stay true to yourself, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's dive into one of the most common red flags. Imagine you're in a conversation with your partner, and they tell you, "I don't need a man." At first, this might sound empowering, like they're just declaring their independence, right? But if we look a little closer, this could also be a sign that they don't value the role you play in their life. In any healthy relationship, both partners should feel needed and appreciated. Relationships work best when there's a mutual sense of support and care for each other. This is where it becomes tricky. If someone says they don't need you, What they might be saying, even without realizing it, is that they don't see the value you bring to the relationship. And for many men, feeling needed, being able to provide, protect, and support is a fundamental part of a partnership. It's not about creating dependency or a sense of obligation, but more about fulfilling a natural role that can make the relationship thrive. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you find yourself in a relationship where you constantly feel unnecessary or sidelined, it will undoubtedly affect your happiness. When you start to believe that your presence doesn't matter to your partner, it can chip away at your self-worth and sense of purpose." This emotional imbalance in a relationship where one partner feels dispensable can be incredibly damaging. In relationships, Stoicism teaches us the importance of living with purpose and contributing meaningfully to those around us. When both partners rely on each other and genuinely support one another, that's when a relationship is balanced and healthy. But if one partner dismisses the other's value, whether through words or actions, it creates a disconnect. If your partner doesn't need you, or worse, they make you feel like you have no role in their life, it's time to consider what that means for your relationship moving forward. This kind of statement, "I don't need a man," can be a signal that your partner isn't allowing you to fulfill your role, whatever that may look like in your unique relationship. Over time, if this feeling persists, you may begin to feel unimportant and unappreciated. And when you feel that way, it's hard to keep giving your best to the relationship. Relationships thrive on balance. When there's a lack of balance, when one person's needs, contributions, or presence isn't valued, the connection becomes strained. If this sounds familiar, you might have already started feeling that tug of self-doubt, wondering if you're truly valued by your partner. These small statements can have a big impact, not just on your relationship, but on your own sense of self. The good news is that you have the power to change this narrative. You can choose to prioritize your own well-being and decide whether this relationship is really giving you the love and appreciation you deserve. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to step away from something that isn't working and find someone who values everything you bring to the table. It's not always easy to recognize these red flags, especially when you care deeply for someone. But acknowledging them is the first step in reclaiming your sense of self-worth. Once you see the signs for what they are, you'll be better equipped to make choices that serve your happiness. Keep in mind, relationships should be a source of joy, support, and growth, not a place where you feel undervalued or overlooked. In the end, it's about finding someone who doesn't just tolerate your presence but cherishes it. You deserve to be with someone who makes you feel needed in the healthiest way, someone who sees your worth and reflects that back to you through their actions and words. Don't settle for less than that. Your happiness, your sense of purpose, and your emotional well-being are worth protecting. As we move forward, remember that you're not alone in this journey. We'll continue exploring more red flags and providing practical tips for recognizing them early. And don't forget, our next video will dive deeper into how to build healthier, more balanced relationships where you can truly thrive. You deserve to feel valued, and it's possible to find a partner who treats you with the respect and appreciation you deserve. So, let's keep the conversation going. Stay true to yourself and never settle for a relationship where you feel anything less than cherished. When you realize that your relationship has become unbalanced, it can be a deeply troubling discovery. It's more than just a feeling of something being off. It's an understanding that your mental and emotional well-being are at stake. This imbalance can wear you down, making you feel undervalued, neglected, and questioning your own worth. It might be tempting to stay and hope things change, but sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to walk away. Leaving a relationship where you're not valued isn't a failure, it's a step toward preserving your self-respect and paving the way for a future with someone who truly appreciates you for who you are. It's about making space for healthier relationships, ones that can nurture your sense of self rather than diminish it. Taking this step requires courage. It can feel daunting to let go of someone you've invested time, energy, and emotions in. But the truth is, choosing yourself in a situation where your needs and contributions aren't valued is an act of self-preservation. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be with someone who sees your worth and reflects that appreciation in their actions. Walking away from a relationship that doesn't serve you is a path toward finding the happiness and fulfillment that you may not even realize you're missing. Another red flag that can indicate a lack of appreciation in a relationship is when your partner consistently puts their friends above you. While friendships are important and should be maintained, A healthy relationship requires balance. In a loving partnership, both people should prioritize each other and work to create a bond that feels secure and fulfilling. But when you find yourself constantly competing with your partner's friends for their attention, it can feel like you're always coming in second. This can lead to feelings of neglect, frustration, and eventually resentment. A relationship that's constantly overshadowed by other people is unbalanced and disruptive. Stoic principles encourage us to live with purpose and integrity, and part of that includes fostering meaningful connections with the people who matter most. If your partner's friends always come first, it creates an emotional distance that prevents the relationship from thriving. You deserve a partner who values you just as much as their social circle, someone who makes you a priority in their life. It's not about asking your partner to choose between you and their friends. It's about maintaining a healthy balance where both relationships can coexist. But when your partner consistently places their friends above you, it's a sign that the relationship lacks mutual respect and understanding. This is when it becomes important to recognize your own worth and the role you should play in your partner's life. If you're not a priority, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. Walking away from such a situation isn't about giving up, it's about recognizing that you deserve more. You deserve to be in a relationship where your presence is valued, where your partner wants to build a life with you, not just fit you in around other obligations. Stoicism teaches us to make decisions that lead to inner peace and personal fulfillment. If staying in a relationship causes emotional distress because you're not seen as a priority, it's time to consider what's best for your well-being. Leaving a situation where your needs are consistently overlooked is a step toward finding a more balanced and fulfilling partnership. You are worthy of love, attention, and respect, and you shouldn't settle for less. One of the most straightforward red flags in a relationship is when your partner tells you they're not ready for a commitment. When someone says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," it's a clear sign that they aren't in a place to give you the emotional investment that a healthy partnership requires. It can be difficult to hear this, especially if you're ready to dive deeper into the relationship. But it's important to listen carefully and take their words seriously. They might be dealing with personal issues, lingering baggage from past relationships, or they may simply not feel the same level of interest as you. If you try to push or convince someone into a relationship when they've explicitly stated they're not ready, it's likely to lead to frustration and disappointment on both sides. Relationships are built on mutual readiness and a willingness to invest time, energy, and emotions. If one person isn't ready, it creates an uneven dynamic where one partner is left waiting or feeling unsatisfied. When your partner says they're not ready, it's a signal that they won't be able to offer you the level of commitment and attention you deserve. It's not just about being ready in the sense of wanting a relationship, it's about emotional readiness and the ability to fully engage in a partnership. If your partner isn't there, then trying to force the relationship forward will only lead to more heartache. This is where self-awareness and self-respect come into play. You deserve to be in a relationship where both partners are equally invested. If your partner tells you they aren't ready, it's time to assess whether waiting for them is worth the emotional toll. Sometimes, stepping away is the best decision, as it opens the door for you to find someone who is ready and willing to commit to you fully. Stoicism encourages us to live with purpose and clarity, and part of that clarity comes from understanding when a situation isn't serving us. If your partner can't give you the relationship you need, it's okay to let go. It's not about blaming them for where they are emotionally, but about recognizing that your own emotional needs are valid too. You deserve to be in a partnership where both people are ready to invest equally, and if that's not the case, walking away is an act of self-respect. In every relationship, there will be moments of challenge and growth. But there's a difference between working through issues and ignoring red flags that are telling you something fundamental is missing, whether it's feeling unappreciated, coming second to your partner's friends, or hearing that they're not ready for the level of commitment you're seeking. These are signs that the relationship isn't balanced. Walking away from an unbalanced relationship doesn't mean you've failed, it means you've chosen yourself. You've decided that your happiness and emotional well-being matter. You've recognized that you deserve to be with someone who sees your value, prioritizes you, and is ready to commit to building a meaningful and supportive partnership. Ultimately, it's about finding someone who values you for who you are and is ready to invest in the relationship just as much as you are. It may take time, and it might be painful to let go of a relationship that no longer serves you, but it's a step toward a brighter, healthier future. When you prioritize your own well-being, you open yourself up to the possibility of finding a relationship where mutual respect, appreciation, and love are at the forefront. Remember, you are deserving of a relationship that nurtures you and brings you joy. Don't settle for anything less than that. When you're in a relationship, honesty is one of the most important pillars. So, when your partner tells you that they're not ready for a relationship, it's crucial to respect that. Trying to force something when one person isn't prepared can create an unbalanced dynamic. One person may start to feel neglected, while the other might feel pressured into something they're not ready for, which often leads to tension, frustration, and ultimately a toxic relationship. Relationships need balance, where both partners are equally invested and excited to move forward together. If one person isn't on the same page, it can create a world of emotional turmoil. Forcing a connection in these situations often leads to bigger issues down the road, and you might end up resenting each other. Instead of waiting around or trying to change your partner's mind, the healthier path is usually to move on. It's about seeking someone who is ready and willing to meet you where you are, someone who is eager to build a meaningful connection together. You shouldn't have to convince someone to be with you. And that's a hard truth that's essential to acknowledge. Love should be mutual, and both people should be equally excited about the relationship. If you're the only one putting in the emotional energy, it creates a dynamic where imbalance reigns. Moving forward from this situation doesn't mean giving up on love. It means opening yourself up to finding the right person who will be just as invested in you as you are in them. Now, let's dive into another common issue. When your partner tells you need to change. In a healthy relationship, both people should feel valued and accepted for who they are. No one should be pressured into changing fundamental aspects of their personality or behavior just to meet someone else's standards. If your partner constantly points out your flaws and insists that you need to change to fit their ideal, it can have a devastating effect on your self-esteem. It's normal for partners to grow together and encourage each other to be the best versions of themselves. But when someone demands that you change significant parts of who you are, it's a red flag. Change should always come from within. It should be motivated by your own desire for personal growth, not because someone else is insisting on it. When your partner tells you that you need to change to be with them, it's a sign that they may not truly appreciate or love you for who you are. This kind of dynamic can be incredibly toxic. Over time, constantly being criticized or feeling like you're never good enough can erode your sense of self. You might start to question your worth, wondering if you'll ever be able to meet their expectations. But the reality is, you shouldn't have to change the core of who you are to be loved.